Good morning, guys. So today, like I promised, we will go and to walk around this old 60. So guys, we're going to, before we get started here, I just want you to know that this is just going to be kind of just what we need to get done. I know you won't get to see any of it because my uncle decided he wanted to help fix this thing. And he refuses to let me film us working on it. So in the end, when we get it running, I will maybe on the end of one of my other videos, I will throw some footage of this thing running or being used or something like that. So let's get started, guys. First thing we're going to do is, I know that Uncle bought some new points and condenser and stuff. These are pretty. If I can get it to come off here. There it goes. These are pretty. I mean, that's not too bad. But that's that. Get in here. See if I can open that up for you guys without getting my finger too much in your way. But you can see the points are pretty gross. Uncle and I decided it'd be easiest just to replace everything. That way we know everything in there is good. We're also going to replace the coil. And I know he pulled the plugs. I'm not sure what's going on with the plugs, because I wasn't here when Uncle did that. Little tip, if you have to replace this for any reason, just cut these off. And if you're lucky enough to get an spray like PB blaster or something like that on those, let them sit. And if you can get this, when you get that off, if you're lucky enough like that you might have a full thickness bolt, you might be able to take those out with a crescent wrench, or not crescent wrench, but a pipe wrench. And you're most likely not going to just kind of grind them smooth and drill them out, and you'll have to tap those holes and put in something like a Healy coil or a Keensert or something like that. One thing else about the 60, I'm going to add some little information here and there about it. I know this thing has to be after 54. My research that I did said that in 54 power steering was an option. And if I understand it correctly, it was standard on 55 and 56, which is 56 would be the last year on the 60. So, and guys, I think I'm done on this side. So let's go around to the other side.
Go.
All right, guys. So now we're here at the carburetor. I think might have to do some cleaning on it. What I was told at the auction by a gentleman that knew the guy that owned this, that was having the auction, he was one of those when you winterize things, so you put stuff up for the winter, he'd turn the fuel off, run it till it died, shut the battery off, sometimes he'd take it, put it in the shop to make sure it stayed warm. So we may not have to do anything there. You notice the fuel line's off. We are, like I said, Uncle is starting to work on this thing. Back here a little bit was where the fuel bowl thing would be. This is a hole that right there. I don't know if you can see that with my finger there. Now with these fuel bowls, I think are quite interesting and quite innovative, because you see these two lines here. These two lines here, guys, meet up. One side goes into a T. This side goes into the other side of the T, and then the T is bolted or screwed into the top part of the fuel bowl. And which with that, where that does that, there's two diaphragms in there, and with the oil pressure, it opens and closes those diaphragms to make sure that you're not getting A, too much fuel, and B, if you lose oil pressure, you will eventually run out of fuel, and then that way you're not destroying the tractor because you have no oil pressure and you're out there cultivating and next thing you know, you're rebuilding your 60 because you broke something or seized it up because you had no oil pressure. Another thing on this thing here, another little interesting bit of information is the 60 is the replacement of the Model A. So, and that was the model before the 60. Only other thing on this side I might talk about is this little plug here. Can you see that little plug right here? This thing here, if you ever need to, like you said, replace this, if you take a grinder, you can cut right here and then put a wedge in there, and this will pop out. And that way you don't have to purchase a new one if you don't want to. Those can be a little pricey, I think. So, other than that, guys, cameraman might move around to the other side. Okay, cool. So, guys, niftiest one about this one here, excuse me, is that this has the tack, which is quite nifty because if I can get it to come apart here easily, this one, I don't know if I can get it to works. I don't know how long they actually normally work. I've not done much with John Deere's. We'll put that together in a little bit. So guys, that's one thing I thought was kind of cool. I don't know if, back up a little bit here, I don't know how many of you guys follow Dave or Crazy D on the Facebook page, but I think when you guys see, I know he took some pictures of this thing. This thing had a loader on it, or parts of a loader. It had a pillar here, right where you guys are, about where you guys are at, and then, which is all piled off over here by the case. So that pillar there, and then there was this stuff here on there. And I understand, if I understood the gentleman that helped us load this thing, that he built this loader, the whole loader for it, and then he broke something on it, so he decided to remove it, and then he just chopped up that frame for the loaded parts and built something else out of it. So
okay, go.
So guys, the other thing this thing came with would be this pile of 3-point system here. That was on the tractor. Uncle and I had removed it. Which was the 60s and a lot of the John Deere's kind of yield themselves well to these aftermarket 3-points because they're designed to hook right onto the cultivator lifts.
What was a 2-point?
Yeah. So, which was what mostly used for cultivator and other.
Pretty much is what you would use for this. And there was some other drag behind stuff that we used there's a little lever. I don't know on the 60, but on the A there used to be a little lever right by your seat, and you stepped on it, and it'd go down, and then you stepped on it again, and it'd raise it up.
I think this is your hydraulics.
That's hydraulics there.
I think that would.
That might do that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not. Like I said,
I don't know much about the 60s. Now the A, I know everything about them.
So, but yeah, which with this. So guys, one other thing I found, which is like all the John Deere guys that I've talked to over the years, through like the swap meet that we used to have down in Wichita. And all the John Deere guys that I've talked to about the 60s and some of the other, I think others of this series, is they had a tendency to have a crack across here or in between one of these holes. And this one is one of those, what they call a unicorn, I guess, because it don't have, either side does not have a crack on the hubs. So that is awesome. And the last thing I want to show you guys before we end things here is that I'm going to watch the alternator for me, Dad. And yeah, the generator. If you guys can see that. it's not stuck, which is wonderful. That just reminded me of these have there's a gear here on these hubs that help you adjust them in and out. And the one mistake a lot of guys make, and this is what I was taught up at Hutch when I went to school, when I was back in school, is they don't get these backed out all the way or properly. These two bolts here, because these three here, that holds your wedge on, pulls your wedge this way and holds it. But these two smaller ones here, where my fingers are the ones that push the wedge out, so you can get on this and rotate that gear and bring them either farther out or push them farther in. Silly chickens. But anyways, so yeah guys, that's one thing that is in fact I think those aren't out enough. That's probably why we couldn't get the other side to move when we went to go pick it up. But yeah guys, that's one thing there is that those need to be backed out more than what you think they do. So other than that guys, I think that's about it. So guys, that's about it. I think that's all I can do for you on this 60 today. See you next week. Bye.